Welcome to the BCRC. Welcome to the BCRC Facebook Live event. This is Clint Chappell here with the BCRC. Super excited to bring you our second live event. As you can see, I have a guest with me right now. But before we get going, I'm going to want to thank all the essential workers and all the frontline workers who are currently keeping us safe from COVID-19. In saying all that, I think it's time here to announce the president of the BCRC, Mr. Willy Manson. How are you today, sir?
Well, good evening all, and thanks for the invitation to appear here. I'm very thrilled to share some information on the British Columbia Resources Coalition tonight. I know that I've been looking forward to this, or all of our group has been looking forward to this for quite some time, to share the information on where we've come from and where we're going.
So that's awesome stuff, Willy. I'm super excited to have you on here. It's awesome to have someone to talk to and not just to the camera. So I am very, very excited to have you here. Well, let's just jump into it right away. Willy, President, El Presidente, as I like to call you, where do you think the BCRC is going, and how do you like what we've done so far with it, sir?
Well, thanks, Clint. I'd like to back up a little bit to how it was first started. The group was first started. Last September, we came together as an organization. It's almost calling ourselves a silent majority. We realized that it was necessary to promote manufacturing and the utilization of BC resources in BC the best that we could. And out of an initial meeting that we had, there was 5 founding directors that have been meeting every Wednesday since the last part of September of 2019. So we've accomplished quite a few things since then. We actually formed and became a society on January 7th of 2020. And since that time, we've developed a strategic plan to help us move forward. We've also have various committees. We've got a social media committee, which is headed by Clint Chappell. And we've got other committees such as our executive. We have the policy and procedures committee, and we have a community engagement committee. So we're trying to cover a lot of the important items that the society needs and spread the load amongst the 15 of us. So it's been quite a really interesting journey, and I'm quite happy with where we've got to so far.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with everything that you said. I'm super proud to be a part of this, and it has been a long journey. It's had a lot of steps to it, but we're here. We're being more active, and I'm super excited to get this going. Before I ask you any more questions here, I see people in the comment section already. That is awesome. Our viewers keep going up here. That is lots of fun. If you guys have any questions, please just leave them in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer as many as I possibly can. If I don't get to your question, I know we will have some director members in the comment section answering some of the stuff I don't get to if I don't see it in time. In saying that, I will try my best to get to all questions. So Willy, let's get started with our big bang that we announced there a couple of weeks ago with the West Coast Oilfins project. I guess my first question is, how do you see this project going?
Well, from what I understand, Clint, and it was a great announcement, both by the Olefins last year, and then we've done our checklist and realized that we support them as well. I've talked to the proponents fairly recently, and they're still proceeding to the best they can. Of course, there's challenging times right at the moment, and personal meetings aren't as prevalent as they were in the past. So I know that they're proceeding as best they can at this time, and I think that's quite exciting still for all of British Columbia.
Yeah, that's very true. I guess another question is the more towards some of the process behind everything. What's that kind of look like?
Behind the West Coast Olefin project, I believe that they'll be heading into the regulatory process, and that gives all of us citizens and interested individuals time to comment and do submissions to the Environmental Assessment Office, Oil and Gas Commission, and other regulatory bodies. So
You know,
I would say we'll stay tuned for that.
yeah, exactly. You know what I'm really excited for that project though is all the spin-offs that can come off that project. We're talking 3,000 to 5,000 construction jobs as it's being constructed. So the spin-off that will have for the city, for the province, really for the area is going to be nuts. We're going to have bars busy, we're going to have restaurants busy, hotels busy, you name it. The spin-off of all that is going to be absolutely outstanding for the area. I'm pretty sure you'd probably agree with that.
Well, you look at some of the major projects that are going on right now, like the LNG project, Site C, and of course across the north here, the Coastal GasLink. I'm just referring to the projects in the north.
Yeah.
And there's other infrastructure projects, of course, in the Revelstoke area and down on the coast, and all that generates tax base for the cities and the regional districts that they're in, as well as, just like you were saying, restaurants, camp supplies, and then of course you get into the permanent employees after the job is done, and that's significant on this project as well. So we're looking at increased housing. You can just go on and on and on about the benefits of a big project like this.
Yeah, no, for sure. It'd be a huge game changer for the city. You know, we've been stuck at 80,000 people here for a while, so it'd be nice to kind of get that number up a little higher and see some more infrastructure brought into the city because of a project like this.
And we can't forget, though, Clint, that does benefit all the rest of British Columbia too. So it draws workers from elsewhere, and there's other trades, shops, all kind of contractors out of the rest of British Columbia that get drawn into a project this size. So we can't forget that it's not only about the north; it is also very important to realize about the rest of BC as well.
Yeah, for sure. So guys, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. I don't see any in there yet, so I'm guessing some of those questions are still coming. I have a whole bunch of questions here that have been emailed to me this week from people that weren't going to make it. So I'm just going to rally some of these off until I see some people starting to get the ball rolling. I know Grant Purdue, I see, gave a thumbs up there. He likes to get the ball rolling, so maybe he'll ask some questions. So another question that we're going to get to here that we were emailed here. What are the biggest challenges facing the BCRC?
Well, when we first got the British Columbia Resources Coalition together, we thought initially that it was going to be just for us in the north, and then we realized that it's bigger than just the north. We need to realize that all of British Columbia has to benefit by our lobbying and the things that our Resources Coalition are doing. One of the things I'd like to see a little bit more is a little more vocal input towards us as directors from the members. We're member driven, and that enables us to set our policies and move out, deal with our local MLAs, city governments, and lobby for what our members want. We want, of course, to use the natural resources in British Columbia as we can. And we need to grow our members as well. We're only as strong as the membership.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, the more people we get involved with this, the more voices we have, the louder we're going to be, the more we're going to be able to pull in government and make them listen to us. So I think it's super important that we get more members and we get more involved with that.
Two of us directors, Clint, recently attended the Forest Alliance rally in Victoria, and I was very impressed how that went. That was driven by an organization on the island, and I could see how rallies draw people in, and it was a very, very well thought out and well presented rally. Yeah, for sure. All the pictures I've seen from that looked like a lot of fun down there. I was a little jealous. I see Mr. Purdue has said visit the website, the bcrc.ca, to join up. That's our website, guys. There's a lot of cool stuff on there if you want to visit that website. It also has the memberships and how everything's laid out there. So again, it's the bcrc.ca. Still don't see any questions. That's okay. We got a lot of viewers, so I'll just keep rallying off these email questions here. I got another one here. How can I get the British Columbia Resources Coalition to advocate for my project? We have a projects committee, and we have a projects checklist developed by that committee. And we would like a proponent to approach us, approach the committee, and we will advocate or we will fill out the checklist and have some dialogue with the proponent. And then if it falls in lines with our value and mission statements, then we'll advocate for it. So the best way to send that is either at contact one of the directors off our website directly, or of course there's some email addresses, info@the BCRC, or myself, president at the BCRC.ca, Clint. So any one of us directors or email addresses, send it in and we'll get right back to you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're a media outlet, I know there is some media watching us here tonight. You can contact me at media@thebcrc.ca. That's media@thebcrc.ca. If you want general info, just hit up info@thebcrc.ca. I see someone has asked, what is the big announcement? You're going to have to wait. We're going to announce that at the end, as I've learned with all my years of listening to sports talk radio, you have to tease that a little bit. So once we get to the end of that, I promise the announcements are very big and they are going to be worthwhile to stay for. We do have one question from a Steve here in the comment sections. What can members do to help promote specific projects?
I think that members should always be on the lookout for projects in their area, whether it's on Vancouver Island or north of Prince George, Fort Nelson area, Dawson Creek, or in the interior. They got to be on the lookout, and they have to let us know so that we can fill out a project checklist, and we want to be able to advertise and promote that project as being good for British Columbia on our website.
For sure, that is a really, really good way to ask that. I'm going to go through a couple more questions here on the email list. We're still not getting very many questions there, guys, on the comment section, so please feel free to leave your questions, and we will do our best to answer those questions. This is going to have to be an in-depth answer there, Mr. President. What does the BCRC hope to achieve as a society?
Again, it's driven by our values and mission statement, which is on our website. My vision when I first put this together or brought this group together was promoting for the natural resource utilization. For example, in the news lately was a mill on Vancouver Island that's running full speed, producing paper to go to the US to make some of the masks for the antivirus masks. And they in turn get shipped back up into Canada. So my thoughts are, why can't we keep that type of manufacturing within Canada? Same with, there's some other touchy subjects like raw log exports. I know we have mills all over British Columbia shutting down. Is there any way that we can work with government, liaison with government, to look at keeping more of those logs in BC? And of course, with the West Coast Olefins project is utilizing a previously unutilized product. It's taking the liquids out of natural gas. So I see our value, the BC Resources Coalition value, in lobbying local government, our local MLAs, and possibly the feds.
Yeah, we need to do something. We need to make sure these resources are benefiting British Columbians. We see too many resources getting shipped out, and then that's just paying for them back again. There's, you go to the raw logs, you go to whatever you want. There's so many different examples of them. As British Columbians, we have the capability, we have the land, we have the resources to be able to make all this in British Columbia. We need to do more to make sure that those jobs and those benefits are to our province and to our people. It's about all of us. It's not just about each individual little sector of British Columbia. We have people in Vancouver who don't necessarily like some of the things we do up here. That's not the point. The whole point of this is, as British Columbians, we need to benefit more from a resource sector.
You need to also, Clint, when we did form the BCRC, we did realize that labor is a big resource that we have, a big important resource that we have as well. Not only we have the natural resources, but labor as a resource, and we've got very skilled labor in British Columbia.
Absolutely, we do. We got some of the best skilled labor in the world. I've worked all over, and I can tell you that BC is the best. So I got a question here from a Lori, and this is a really good question. I'm going to kick it off here a little bit after I ask it because it's kind of near to my heart a little bit. What is the BCRC doing to support women in trades? So I grew up in a family of 6 kids. I have 3 sisters. I have my wife and I have 2 daughters. I have been around women my whole life, and there is nothing more that I would like to see than women being represented equally when it comes to trades. We need to see more women in our trade sector. They're just as capable as every bit as any man is. So we really need to see those numbers up. And how we're advocating for that, I think it's going to be more opportunity with these jobs. The more resource jobs we get, the more opportunity it is for people to go apply for those jobs, and that will benefit both the sexes. So I really want to be pushing hard for that. That's something that is very, very important to me, and I'm sure it's important to Willy as well.
I think if we walk through CNC at any particular time in the trades division, we see that there's an increased number of women in the trades. So I think that's very important. And I know that CNC, and we can't forget UNBC for their engineering type training, is going to figure very important into the future of this area as well.
Yeah, for sure. So I have another question here from Elisa. Can you comment on Doug Donaldson's announcement of deferring stumpage rates for the forest licenses? Does this seem like a fix or just pushing the problem out? How will the BCRC stand up for the forest industry? So that announcement just came down here. I think it was today. I'm going to let Willy kind of talk about that, and then maybe I'll chime in at the end.
I think the short version is we have to look at it in depth to see what the actual details involved. One of the high level thoughts on that, and I tend to agree with that, if it was a forgiveness of the stumpage, say for 3 months, then the government is currently in negotiations with the U.S. on the lumber trade. There could be an issue that circles back again about subsidizing the timber industry or the logging industry. So we have to look at it a little bit more. It's fairly a bit of a nerve right now, and a nerve center, and we need to look at that a little bit more. I think it's an interim, something that may help in term.
Yeah, I grew up, as I said on the first one, I grew up a baby of the forest industry. That's what our company does. We're heavily involved with the forest industry, and it's one of those things. It's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Right now, the forest industry is struggling, so they're trying out new things to see if that can help. I think as far as helping the forest industry in the future, there is some more stuff that we can try to do with them as far as stumpage rates in the future, and anything to do with trying to keep these mills open. I think there's some way we can help them advocate for that sort of process staying in our province. I don't think Steve liked the way we answered the first time, so he tried to reword it here a different way. For the projects that the BCRC is already supporting, what can members do to help promote these projects? So stuff that we're already supporting, how can our members help with those projects?
I believe that the members can reach out to friends, family, co-workers, and make sure that others are educated about the project. Many times there can be rumors circulating about certain projects, emissions, those type of issues, and we need to get out there with factual information. So Steve, possibly as a member, possibly not, or a potential member, we need to get out and talk to everyone.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's super important. And Steve is a member. He just wants to know how he can help more, because he's he's a very vocal guy and he wants to get involved as much as he can.
I think then he will be the head of our rally committee when we have one in Prince George.
There you go, Steve. You got yourself your first job with the BCRC. He gave us the thumbs up, so that's always good. Okay, so I got a fairly long-winded question here, Willie, so you're going to have to let me get through the whole thing. Specifically in regards to the West Coast Oilfields project, what are your thoughts on some of the accusations made regarding pollution in the Prince George area via various social media groups, whether based on facts or hearsay of various individuals? Can you elaborate on the known environmental regulations and bodies checking through this project and benefits to projects currently compared to the past projects? Oof. So I think he's more or less asking about the environmental concerns of the project.
I think that the project is soon to enter the EAO process, the Environmental Assessment Office process. I'm not totally familiar with the technical side of the emissions of that. I believe that it will be, of course, it has to be according to regulation and current regulation. I have children and grandchildren that live in this town, and I expect a clean environment for them to live in, and there can't be a compromise on that. I think that location is important, and location for the West Coast Olefins plant is going to determine, I think, the community's reaction to it.
I think that's a very good way of answering that question. I think I'll leave that at that. I think we have our own internal processes when it comes to checking out projects environmentally as far as the BCRC is concerned. And you know, if the project's going through the environmental assessment and it gets approved, then I believe that they've done everything they can for that.
We will be watching that EAO and Oil and Gas Commission process and posting that on our website when comments are open. I think that's very important that everybody gets the correct information.
For sure, we don't want misinformation either way. We want the correct information for everybody, and we want to make sure that it's accurate. So I think that was a very good question by Sam. Thank you for asking it. Okay, so it looks like we're running out of questions a little bit, so I'm going to refer back to the email questions here. How does the BCRC intend to engage with the local and provincial government?
I think it's important that at the same time, big projects are engaging with the city, for example, which is important because that any kind of project within the city limits or regional district brings in tremendous tax revenue. And as we know from reading the news the last couple of weeks, that the tax revenue or the revenues into the city is down quite a bit. So we look forward to that. So I think that we need to, and we have been liaisoning with local government, the city government, and we've also been in discussions with the local MLAs as well. And a couple of times I've been in Victoria speaking with some of the members of the current government and opposition as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think you know, we've already done some of that. We want to get more involved as the more evolved we become as a coalition. So
once we can liaison with
exactly
with the people, I find face-to-face is a lot better than any type of email correspondence.
I think that is one of the most important things that we've said here tonight. Face-to-face gets a lot more done than over emails. Okay, and once we can get face-to-face, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
So another question here from a Robert. Will the West Coast Oilfields project use local businesses and contractors, or are they outsourcing? I'm going to just take a quick stab at this, Willie. You can interrupt me if I'm wrong. A job that size absolutely needs to use as many people from the city that it's going to be in. They need to use as many contractors as they possibly can. And there will be some sort of outsourcing because they have to. But a job that size is going to eat up as many people as they can within our city. I'll let Willie take it from there.
That's during the construction process, Clint. I totally agree. But for the ongoing maintenance and operation, it'll all be from what I'm hearing, it'll all be local contractors unless there's big turnarounds or shutdowns. You might have to bring outsiders in to augment the workforce. But normal operations will be all employees that live in Prince George and surrounding area. No fly in, fly out for permanent employees. That's what I'm hearing.
For sure. And even for the construction part of it, though, you know, a lot of these people, there will be a lot of British Columbians on that site. There has to be. It comes down to dollar figures, and it'll be cheaper to keep those jobs within our province. Will there be other people involved? More than likely. You got a $5.6 billion project. That's a lot of people that got to get that thing stood. So they're going to use as many, I think, as they possibly can.
Yeah.
Very good question, though, Robert. So we're going to go back to the email questions because we are running out of questions there on the comment section. Again, guys, we want to keep this thing going as long as we can because we want to tease you as long as we possibly can for those announcements. So just keep asking the questions. From the email chain here, do you support renewable energy projects?
How can we not support renewable energy projects? I guess as long as they meet in environmental regulations and other applicable regulations. Yes, we do. And actually, there's a large proposed renewable resource project in Prince George that we are announcing our support tonight, Clint.
Yeah, we are. Not ready yet. I still want to make everyone wait a little bit longer for that. I do see some people in the comment section here who are involved with that project. So I do see you guys there. I just I want to wait a little bit more because I really think that there are some more good questions out there before we delve down that road. I have a question from Mike here from the comment section. Could you guys explain how the BCRC got started for those of us who don't know? So Mike might have missed the start of the live here. Maybe we should just go over again on how we kind of got started.
Sure. It was a group of interested individuals, some contractors, some employees, and other individuals that I considered being the silent majority that needed a voice to know and support and know the details and the facts behind projects. And that's what actually drove us in the beginning to come together, like-minded individuals. And there's been a lot of energy put into it in the past. And as you can see, Mike, if you joined up and had a look at our website, you'd see some of the, or just went to our website. I think all of our directors are on the front. And there's significant individuals that have put a lot of effort into this. And on that note, there is some member companies here, Clint, that I think that you could probably acknowledge at this time.
Sure, I'll get to some of our sponsors here as I find them because there are so many of the sponsors here, which is amazing. Acres has just actually recently signed up, so that's awesome. I know they've been a supporter from us from the start. It took a little bit to get it all figured out, but they have been awesome to deal with so far. Again, from the previous meeting, we have All North, Andritz, Gap Manufacturing, Lakewood Electric, Power Pro, Steel Grid, Stinger Welding, Miltron Electric, Wellcore Supplies. So all those companies, guys, are all local here in Prince George. Obviously, some of them a little bit bigger, like Acres, All North, and Andritz, but they all still support the Prince George area, and we're very honored and happy to have them on board. In saying that, I would love to see about 25 more of those companies become corporate members, as we do need those memberships to help us to continue to fund this and to continue to help make sure resources get manufactured here in Prince George. I'm sure Willy wants to say thank you too.
Well, advocate for our natural resources in British Columbia. I think, Clint, could you speak towards the membership levels within the BCRC?
Yes, for sure I can. So we have 3 membership levels. We have a casual membership level. And what the casual membership gets you is it'll get you a quarterly newsletter. It'll get you access to the website. We will be doing stuff on there going forward as far as little emails we send you about projects, upcoming possible projects that aren't really announced yet that we're still trying to figure out, but you can maybe get some hints for work-wise that way. So that's what the casual membership gets you. The full membership gets you everything the casual membership gets you, but it also gets you voting rights. So if you don't like the way that El Presidente is running the BCRC at our AGM meeting, you can actually vote him out. You can vote me out. You can vote all of us out and become directors yourselves. We also have the corporate membership, and the corporate membership is more of a corporate donation, I guess, but you still get access to the website and everything. But what your corporate membership / donation is really for is to really keeping us funded. Those are the big donations that really help keep us going. All of them have access to the website. I recommend, if you want to kind of tip your toe in a little bit, go with the casual membership, see what we're all about, and then after that, once you get a good sense for us, you can go for the full membership. Those are the 3 levels that we currently have right now.
And you can join up on the website as well for the membership.
Yes, all the membership is website driven. You can have a PayPal account. It's on the bcrc.ca. You'll find our membership page there. Actually, speaking of the website, we should probably talk about our social media. Someone asked us what are the platforms that we're currently on. Right now, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're on LinkedIn. I know everybody has Instagram. Not everybody has LinkedIn, but everyone that follows us on Facebook has Instagram. You can't convince me otherwise. All of you guys need to go to Instagram right now at the BCRC, find us and like our page, because I really want to get that as high as I can on Instagram. Everyone told me it was not going to work on Instagram because it's more of a different platform, but I want to prove everybody wrong. So please go to Instagram and follow us on Instagram, as well on LinkedIn too. We got a lot of cool connections on LinkedIn now that could benefit you professionally. Looks like we have another question on the comment section. Seeing the big downturn in the Alberta oil sands sector, there's a perception that large, hungry workforces from that province and others outside BC will be easily brought in to construct the West Coast Oilfields project. Could you expand on what the BCRC is doing to promote BC resources for the West Coast Oilfields project?
As Clint mentioned earlier on, the size of this project is substantial and will be, for the construction project, there'll have to be workers from other areas coming in. The BCRC in the initial stages is still promoting the resources being used in British Columbia first, whether it's the natural gas, liquids, or whether it's our labor resources. We're adamant on that. The proponents for West Coast Olefins are also adamant that British Columbia resources, including labor resources, get utilized first. I think that that's been a very good sign to us, and we'll continue to push that. We think that's very important.
So I'm going to go through just a couple more email questions. I do see the comment section is slowly dying down here. One of the questions we had today is this a legal entity? I think that's pretty easy to answer. Yes, we are. We are a legal entity. I don't remember the date we became.
January 7th, 2020.
There you go. That's marked down on our president's calendar. That's why he's the boss. Another good question here is, how does the BCRC govern itself?
The BCRC falls under the Societies Act, and that we're regulated by the Societies Act. So the question previous to that was, are we a legal entity? We sure are. We're a society, and we're governed by the Societies Act. And we have a policies and procedure committee to guide us to make sure we stay on track with that BC Societies Act. So we have the Societies Act available to our members and directors as well.
Yes, for sure. So I'm going to ask one more question here, and then if I don't get any more from the comment section, I guess we're going to have to give them the big payoff here at the end.
Yep.
How does the BCRC support trade education?
Oh, absolutely. That's key to developing our labor resources in BC. For any of you that have been through CNC as I have been, and know others that have been through CNC, it's a top-notch facility, and it's been growing ever since I moved to Prince George years ago. And I think that anybody that hasn't walked through that should walk through that CNC for trades. And of course, Years ago, we didn't have a university either. And a small group of people sat down and said, we need a university. And look what we have 25 years later or 26 years later now. A small nucleus of people sat down and decided to do that. And we look at the Northern Medical System program. A group of interested individuals sat down and said, we got to train doctors in Prince George. So another small group was successful in advocating for something. So that initially drove us as a small group can be a nucleus for a larger movement. And that's what we see, developing our natural resources and developing our labor resources within BC. And I know, just speaking to the question again, that CNC is very important part of this.
For sure. And it's not just, I just want to make sure that we're all here understanding too. We're using Prince George as a lot of examples because that's where we live, that's where we're from. But we want this thing to go from Fort Nelson to Victoria to Dawson Creek to you name it, any town that is in British Columbia. We want to represent everybody. We're not just about Prince George. We're not just about the Cariboo region. We're not just about the interior. We're about the whole province. So whether you're on the Queen Charlotte Islands, whether you're, like I said, you're in Victoria, downtown Vancouver right now in your condo that's right next to BC places. I know someone who just joined the live feed here is. We want to represent all you guys, and we really want to make sure that everybody realizes that, again, we are not just a Prince George group. We are a whole British Columbia group. I know that there's going to be things that we're going to be talking about here in the future with possible other chapters opening up in other parts of British Columbia if we can ever get that stuff figured out. So we really want to make sure, again, we're a British Columbia group. We're not just a Prince George group. And that's
why we need members from other parts of
Exactly.
British Columbia to speak up and give us a hand advocating on your behalf.
Exactly. I know that people have reached out to me here since we did the first Facebook Live. All the people are reaching out to me right now. Please join up. We don't really care if it's a $25 membership or a $300 one. We just want members, and preferably a $300 membership, because again, that will get you on our actual members list, and we'll be able to work with you a little bit more. But
so, Clint, without further ado.
Yeah, I think it's time to announce our first big announcement here. We, as the BCRC, are proud, ecstatic, excited. I can't think of any other words to be advocating for the BC Hemp Project located in Prince George, British Columbia. I'm very, very excited for that. I'm going to let Willy talk to that here for a second, and then I'm going to give some shout outs to the people in our comment section here.
The announcement for the BC Hemp was made possibly a month ago. I think that's going to be a big driver for our economy as well. The location is supposed to be right in Prince George, and that's going to provide a good tax base for the city and employment for the area. And as Clint said earlier on, there is some of the proponents on here, and he wants to give thanks to those people.
So I want to thank everybody that I see on here. I see the whole entire membership management team here of the BC Hemp Project. We are so excited to work with you guys. I'm going to try to pronounce everybody's name properly here. I know I'm going to screw some up. If I do, I am so sorry. Remy, the president and the chair of the board, I've seen you comment here so far today. Again, thank you very much. Michael, the chief executive officer. Istvan, the chief business developer. Adele, the chief financial officer. Burdine, the director of quality assurance. Chris, director of agriculture services. Robert, director of public relation. Bobby, the legal and corporate affairs officer, and Sheila. Thank you guys so much. We are super excited to get on this. I know Robert has already sent me some posts that he wants to send out, and I'm very, very excited to announce that. So the next big announcement that we have here, you're going to want to get your popcorn ready. You're going to want to get maybe a cold beverage with you here. In the coming weeks, we are going to have the CEO of the West Coast Oilfins Project, Ken James, on Facebook Live with us. He will be answering the questions from the comment section. He'll be answering questions from myself, I'm very excited to get this man one-on-one and be able to talk to him and take your questions for him to answer as well. So again, Ken James, the CEO of West Coast Oilfins, will be joining myself on Facebook Live. Willie, what do you think of that?
I think that's great. Again, I want to thank BC Hemp. I think this is a great opportunity for Prince George, and we look forward to working with them and meeting some of their the proponents in person. I haven't yet. I'm looking forward to that when we can. And again, to have Ken James on here as well. So thank you very much for inviting me, Clint, to speak to this. And I look forward to future live on Facebook presentations.
Thank you very much for Willie for joining me. This was a lot easier with you on here, I can say. To everybody watching, thank you for coming out and asking your questions. Hopefully these last two announcements have made you excited. They've made me excited with the diversification that we'll have in our economy. So again, for Willie Manson, I'm Clint Chappell, and this has been a Facebook Live event brought to you by the BCRC. Thank you.